What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to my series on Jeremy Dewitte, the love of my life, and I'm sure the love of yours. If you're new to this channel, this is a series I'm doing on Jeremy Dewitte, the serial police impersonator who has gone viral on YouTube, by following the documented cases that he has accumulated over the years on this website. I'm going to link to it in the description so you can visit it yourself. It's really great. If you haven't already, please check out my first couple videos on the subject right here. Jeremy Dewitte's saga is so hard to follow, but I'm doing my best. Right now we're going to be doing a two-parter. I originally thought of doing these one by one, each section, but there's just so much written on the guy. It's going to take forever if I do that, and I want to get this completely done so I can react to the videos. Without further ado, please go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram, and yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. Let's do this. The pattern. After his first arrest in May 1998, where he was charged with falsely impersonating a police officer and petite theft of $14.50 in gas. Okay, so real quick, like before in the last video, I was saying like if I was going to get arrested for a felony of like impersonating a police officer, I would just go for the gold. Like 14, why even stop at $14.50? Like at least try for more, honestly. Is that legal to say? No, because that's stupid. You get a felony for $15. Jeremy appeared to lay low, at least for another year and 4 months. On September 30th, 1999, Jeremy Dewitte was charged for using a fictitious name on his driver's license and for carrying a concealed weapon. He was arrested by Orange County Sheriff's Office, and he hired an attorney from Umansky Law Firm in Orlando, Florida. The charges were dismissed and life continued. They dismissed carrying a concealed weapon? In Florida? Okay, in Florida that's not really that surprising. In May 24th, 2000 and August 11, 2000, Jeremy Dewitte was ticketed for failure to pay a toll. There were no other legal issues in his life for the entire year, and it appeared he may have learned to stay out of the system. But on May 8, 2001, he had another run-in with law enforcement for unlawful radio equipment, use of flashing and rotating blue lights, and prohibited red and blue lights on his vehicle. Harvey Cohen was his attorney, and Jeremy Dewitte was simply ticketed. Okay. On August 18, 2001 and August 29, 2001, Jeremy was again arrested for impersonating a police officer. Harvey Cohen was still his attorney. The first impersonation charge on August 18, 2001 was never filed. Okay. Jeremy Dewitte was given community control, which is a much stricter form of probation, but nevertheless better than imprisonment. It began on October 8, 2001. Alright, so just right off the bat, I'm kind of already seeing, like, he hasn't learned a lesson. Like, the whole impersonating police officer using his Explorer thing, and then now he has red and blue lights. Like, that, what is a court supposed to think about that, you know? And, ooh, okay, sis, looking, he's looking. On February 21st, 2003, Jeremy violated his community control. He also changed attorneys, and Michael H. Gibson represented him. Jeremy admitted to violating his community control at a hearing on March 7, 2003. He was arrested to 22 months imprisonment with credit for 1 year and 64 days. Okay. During this time, Jeremy Dewitte was also receiving multiple tickets for failures to pay tolls, driving with a suspended license, not obeying traffic controls, and driving on a median strip. Like, is this dude gay? Like, I'm really curious. Like, he's like has this obsession with like power and cute uniforms, and the homeboy can't drive. Homeboy cannot drive, and that is the biggest incriminating piece of evidence I have for you, my good friends. On July 1st, 2003, just 4 months after Jeremy's hearing for violating his community control, a warrant was issued for his arrest. He was accused of using a false name on a driver's license and unauthorized possession of an identity card on March 24th, 2003 and March 25th, 2003. So that's just basically a fake ID, right? Like the way it's worded here, using false name on a license, how does that benefit you? Like I'm trying to think like, okay, well I guess that makes sense because if your license is suspended and you have a fake license and you have a fake name, they won't run your name. So I guess that makes sense. But I've just never seen it read that way. It's usually always been fake license. He hired attorney Michael Gibson again on July 7, 2003. Gibson filed his appearance. On July 30th, 2003, Michael Gibson filed a motion to withdraw as counsel. Okay, everyone's jumping ship here. There was a hearing on August 5th, 2003, and a public defender was appointed for Jeremy Dewitte the same day, shortly after his bond was revoked. On October 15, 2003, Jeremy Gibson entered again as Jeremy's attorney. Okay. And on October 22nd, 2003, a public defender was appointed. So he recused himself again? Like, why would you take on the case again that you recused yourself from before? Suspicious. Jeremy Dewitte was given 10 months in jail with credit for 114 days after a nolo contendere plea. For people who are in law, please tell me if I'm right in saying that's no contest. That's no contest, right? Or is that a specific form of no contest? I don't know. It's fun to say, and I really want to learn more. Based on court records, there was a clear pattern showing a complete disregard for rules at this time. There was also an escalation in Jeremy's behavior. He went from not paying for $14.50 worth of gas here and there and flashing an Explorer badge when it was convenient, to using fake names, driving with a suspended license, running tolls, continuing to use flashing lights, and continuing to impersonate law enforcement, as well as carrying a concealed weapon. Alright, also, I actually studied criminal psychology a lot for my degree. I got my degree in neuroscience. An escalation of behavior is something that you see in juvenile offenders, primarily when they go from juvenile offenders to being adults. And the thing is, I don't know Jeremy's juvenile history. I don't know what that would entail because those records are most likely locked when he turned 18. What's unique about Jeremy is that all we know from 18, his behavior his behavior at 18 escalated in the same way that adolescents tend to escalate with conduct disorder. You kind of see more harm and more criminality as they get older, as they learn kind of how to lie better and how to get away with their maladaptive behaviors. So like not paying for $14.50 and kind of lying about being a police officer but not going the extra mile, like having flashing lights. That's kind of where we see Jeremy starting, and then as he's getting older and as he's getting quote unquote better, even though he's not, better at faking it, you're kind of seeing him get bolder, and there's more props and there's more information, more things that he's using, all the way up to carrying a concealed weapon, which to me is like a big red flag. Like a big, big red flag. So I'm curious to see what he was like as a kid, because this is odd that this is all started at 18, because like I said, usually kids escalate young as they get older, so we'll see. Jeremy violated his community control, which is given as an alternative to jail or prison time, and is seen as a second chance, on at least one occasion. He appeared to drop and pick up attorneys when it was convenient for him. Thankfully, things were very quiet for Jeremy Dewitte. Police departments and the courts, after October 22, 2003, for nearly 15 months, he didn't even receive a traffic ticket. In his young adult life, this was the longest he had ever gone without a ticket or a court date. But his entire life was about to change on January 10th, 2005. Next post. The girl. The girl. Social relationships are a large part of a young adult's life. Between the ages of 20 to 35 years old, intimacy is very important in this stage. Well, it's important older than 35. Like, you don't just stop having sex at 35. No shade to the admin who wrote this, but I feel like you're setting the bar kind of low at 35. Partnership is usually at the forefront of a young person's mind, and lacking in that area can lead to social isolation and withdrawal. Yes, having the ability to form long or even short-term intimate relationships is important at this time. In the fall of 2004, Jeremy Dewitte was 4 months away from turning 25 years old. In need of a social outlet, he went to a nightclub in Orlando, Florida on October 1st, 2004. Whoa, this guy already has a huge criminal record, and he's not even he's just a little bit older than me. It's scary. This is when he met a young lady who stated she was 18 years old. Stated she was 18 years old. I have a feeling she's not. Jeremy and the young lady were intimate that night. They saw each other again on November 1st, 2004, according to court documents. On January 10th, 2005, a warrant was issued for Jeremy Dewitte for 2 charges of lewd or lascivious, I can't say that word properly, please someone educate me, battery on a minor between the ages of 12 and 15. Oh! Both charges were second-degree felonies in the state of Florida and were punishable by up to 15 years in prison for each charge. Jeremy was given a bond of $2,500 and was ordered to have home supervision. These charges originated from the encounter Jeremy had with a young lady in the Orlando nightclub on October 1st, 2004. She was not an 18-year-old woman, she was a 15-year-old girl, and lied about her age. It's unclear if Jeremy learned the truth before or after they were intimate. Alright, so just knowing what I know from his criminal records and his lack of remorse and all of this, I would be willing to buy he didn't know the first time. But you see this girl twice. Like, the second time, 100%, I'm alleging that he knew. I'm thinking he had to have known after that second time. Like, as a man, I'm sure that after the first time you're intimate with someone, you don't just start like, you're not just like, oh, we're not going to talk about our lives at all. Like, he had to have known. Even if she didn't explicitly say it, like men aren't dumb in that regard. Like, girl, no. And this is, okay, also this is a big escalation, because he's going from, like, you know, petty things to now full-on sex crimes. Like, that's bad escalation. On January 18, 2005, attorney Michael Gibson was retained again by Jeremy Dewitte. Jeremy appeared in court with his attorney, and he was told to not to have unsupervised contact with anyone under 18, with the exception of his brother Dylan Vogt, who was a minor at the time. Okay, so he has a brother. Jeremy was also not to have any contact with the victim, obviously. On February 10, 2005, the state of Florida officially filed charges against Jeremy Dewitte. It should be noted, February 10, 2005 was also Jeremy's 25th birthday. Okay. On February 17, 2005, the state made the defense aware it was being prosecuted as a sex crime. March 7, 2005 was the day Jeremy pled not guilty to all charges. But on July 19, 2005, Jeremy Dewitte entered a plea deal and was determined by the judge to be guilty on one count of lewd, or that word, battery, on July 20, 2005. So the judge probably had the same, wait, no, one count. The one count? Which one's the later count? I'm pretty sure it was the later count. Maybe? I don't know. Count 2 was not pursued by the prosecutor, and the plea of not guilty by Jeremy Dewitte on March 7, 2005 was withdrawn. Instead of facing up to 15 years in prison, he was sentenced to 1 year and 1 day in the Department of Corrections, with time served for 31 days plus 5 years of sex offender probation. Okay, so he's getting, like, he's pretty much getting off scot-free in all of these situations. Like, I haven't really seen a judge really deliver it to him, like, give him a full what's coming in, because, like, he keeps getting these exceptions and things like that. And right here, this was stipulated downward, this was a stipulated downward departure, meaning a judge agreed to depart from the applicable sentence and gave the defendant a lesser sentence. And he's just getting away with so much of this, and it seems like the punishment isn't there. Like, yes, a year and a day sucks, but in the scope of 15 years, like, girl, that's nothing. Another mugshot. This could be like a quilt. Someone please make a quilt and send it to me. Of all of his mugshots. It should be noted the first judge in this case, was Judge Renee Roche. She is also a judge for at least one of Jeremy Dewitte's current 2019-2020 cases. It must be like a real dummy, Judge Renee, to see this man in your courtroom again. After you basically gave him nothing, like a slap on the wrist. Slap on the wrist. I gave myself a high five. Jeremy was fingerprinted on July 20th, 2005, and he was given special conditions for sex offender probation. For nearly 3 years, there was very little activity in Jeremy Dewitte's life. He had a few minor traffic tickets, but there wasn't anything else that would stand out. On May 5th, 2008, defense attorney Eric H. Dubois filed a motion to modify the conditions of Jeremy's sex offender probation. At this time, Jeremy only had 2 more years of his special probation, but he hired Eric Dubois to decrease the severity of or eliminate the probation. Probation is seen as a second chance, an alternative to imprisonment. The courts already agreed to a downward departure in the case, and on May 21st, 2008, the motion to modify was denied. Good. Like, you have the audacity to look a gift horse in the mouth and be like, I'm going to give you a year in the scope of 15 years, potentially. And then you're like, well, I want my probation modified. Like, girl, bye. On June 24th, 2008, Eric Dubois filed another motion to modify the conditions of Jeremy Dewitte's sex offender probation. Finally, on July 8th, 2008, the court granted this motion to modify, but not to eliminate the conditions of his probation. So they did give it. They gave him what he wanted. Okay, Eric Dubois, I will hire you the next time I'm in trouble. On March 7th, 2009, an arrest affidavit for violation of probation was drawn up, and on April 1st, 2009, a warrant was issued for Jeremy Dewitte. On April 3rd, 2009, Jeremy had an in-jail arraignment and he was given no bond. During a hearing on June 18, 2009, Jeremy Dewitte admitted he violated his sex offender probation. Jeremy was again given a downward departure, and instead of facing 8 years and 3 months in prison, he was only to serve 4 years with 109 days credited. Girl, it's less than half. Like, you notice law enforcement keeps giving him these, like, lenient breaks. And it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, they're just continuously giving him, like, they're cutting him slack when they shouldn't. Because there's this whole history, you know? Girl, Florida, what is going on? It should be noted the judge in the violation of probation hearing was Judge Julie O'Kane. She described Jeremy Dewitte as alert and intelligent. She is also one of the judges on at least one of Jeremy Dewitte's current 2019-2020 cases. These judges, wow. No, wow. I wonder what must be going through your mind when you're like, there's no chance me giving this guy some leniency will come back to bite me. And then like 10 years later, he's back in your courtroom for things that are worse. During this hearing, information about Jeremy Dewitte's desire to build a youth team was revealed. Apparently he had attempted to start a junior varsity airsoft military simulation team while his sex offender probation was active and after he became a registered sex offender. You probably make the one thing that you're not supposed to make when you're on sex offender probation. Wait, second of all, what is even an airsoft military simulation team? What is a varsity airsoft military simulation team? Like, you wanted this thing so bad, this sport I've never even heard of, that you would violate your probation? Like, do you even have children? Like, what is the point of that? That's just dumb. Jeremy Dewitte said he took full responsibility for what he had done, and he made a point of only apologizing to an Officer Frank and Officer Kularli for lying to them. Yeah, because that's the bigger problem in the room, Jem. He was then carted off to Graceville Correctional Facility in Jackson County, Florida, 5 hours away from Orlando, Florida. Thank you so much for watching, guys. That's where we're gonna end it. Y'all, there is so much on Jeremy Dewitte, and I am slowly losing my faith in the criminal justice system. But I suffer for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Links are in the description. I post at least once a day on TikTok, and I'm always on my story on Instagram. Hit me up. I love hearing what you guys have to say. I've met so many of you in this short journey I've had on YouTube, and y'all are pretty great. I'll be posting another Jeremy Dewitte video in a couple of days. Stay tuned, and take it easy.